Welcome to another live episode of the Wisco Fanatics Show, where we discuss the Packers, Bucks, Brewers, Badgers football, and basketball from an optimistic perspective. Wisco Fanatics is brought to you by Cardboard Legacy, Wisconsin's most complete sports card shop. Buy, sell, grade, and consign all at their location in Oshkosh.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Wisco Fanatics. Oh my goodness, I gotta tell you, it has been a day. It has been a crazy last 2 days. I want to apologize again for last night. My internet went out, so I had to go live off the cell phone. That was interesting to say the least. I was trying to keep my cool. If I seemed like I was mad, I was more mad at the situation I was in, not mad at the Packers. I felt like they gave good effort. Just came up a little bit short. I'm going to get re-mad because right now, Mikey and myself are going to cover a Badger game that happened in Iowa City, right? No, not Iowa City. That's is that Iowa City, right?
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going crazy today.
Nah, you good. You good.
We're going to cover a Badger basketball game against Holy Cross. And then I'm going to read Tyler's notes as well. For all these games, 3 Bucks games. We got a game against the Memphis Grizzlies, which was a shitter. And then 2 back-to-back tough losses against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Got some optimistic point of views from those. Tyler, I'm sure, does as well. I have not checked his notes for any of this stuff. But as we get going, we're going to start with defense as we always do. So, Mikey, give us the lowdown on Badgers defense versus Iowa. Hold on. Can't hear you, buddy. It's all good. All good. Take your time.
Jake, go ahead. You can talk first.
Okay. I'll read Tyler's notes as soon as I get them up here. And then oh god, it's making me log in. You're gonna have to hold on a sec here. Let's go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Why don't you go ahead real quick while I log in?
Right,
I didn't realize
perfect.
it was gonna make me log in.
Perfect. Yeah, so this wasn't really a game. This was just an absolute beat down across the board. I mean, let's be honest here. I could not find many good things at all this game. This applies for both sides of the ball. As far as the defensive side of the ball goes, I find everybody responsible, and I know that's very broad for me to say, but I mean, when you give up 42 points to the Iowa freaking Hawkeyes, first time since 1975, that's a problem. I said it the other day on Twitter. It was the most embarrassed I've ever been as a Badger fan in my life. I still kind of carry that to this day because I just could not believe. I know Iowa respect the hell out of that program. When you give up over 300 rushing yards to any team in general, you have a problem. And I'm holding everybody accountable for that. That's linebackers, linemen, even secondary too. The quarterback only had to throw 10 times this game. 7 to 10 for 93 yards, 1 touchdown. We played him before. We beat this guy before. It's it was sad all across the board. And I mean, I'm Pressman, I guess for secondary stats, I'll go through them real quick, but it's not the story, right? So Preston Zagman, 8 total tackles. Nizier Forkerine, 5 total tackles. He's having a good year tackles wise. He's at the top he's close to the top of the board. Hunter Wohler, 3 total tackles. But honestly, I really don't want to go anything past that because I can literally there's not many good things to point out to this game, point blank. Offensively, yeah. I guess I got 2 things, but again, I hold everybody accountable on this defense for getting their ass beat. That includes the coaching. I'm going to hold the coaching staff accountable too, honestly. When you get pushed around like that is demoralizing. That can be very demoralizing for this team. Thank God we have this bye week, coming up here. So maybe we can get everyone's heads on straight. That being said, everyone's going to be held accountable, both sides of the ball. I want going forward. I want if the staff sees young dudes that they think they can be ready to play now, you fucking play. You play those guys you do it at this point. We got nothing to lose. This is such a red flag. I am so I was so disappointed. All said and done after this football game, Iowa's not a powerhouse. They're an above average team. Again, that I respect. Nobody should be running over 300 yards. Nobody. So that's my piece defensively. I'm going to let you go next because I'm
Yep.
sure we're going to go further on this.
Yeah, so I'll start with Tyler's notes, and then I will talk about D-line. Then I have something extra to add before we switch to offense. So he has Badger defense at Iowa. He covers the linebackers. He says 12 missed tackles by the Badgers, 3 by linebackers. Christian Allegro was the Badgers' highest graded defender in 59 snaps, 9 tackles, 1 QB hit. I will say, if there was something to take away, Allegro looked pretty athletic and pretty good. Jake Chaney was the second highest graded defender. Leon Lowry was 4th, and Daryl Peterson was 5th. So I'm gonna put that down because, I'm 100% with you, man. This was honestly one of the most embarrassing losses I have ever seen as a Badgers fan. Yeah. We want to call ourselves optimistic and realistic, and we give optimism when necessary. We got to give realism when necessary as well. There's no two ways about it. They whooped our ass all night. Iowa came in. They looked like the better coach team. They looked like they were ready to play. They look like the more physical team. They look like the faster team. They look like the better team, 100%. There was no point in this game where I thought that Wisconsin was on Iowa's level. No point. For D-line, I wrote down, got absolutely owned all night. Iowa quarterback only had to throw 10 passes, reiterating what you said, and scored 42 effing points.
Yeah.
Iowa ran the ball 54 times for 329 yards and 5 goddamn touchdowns, only along of 30. When you're like 30 yards, that's pretty long, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to throw some comments in a second here. Brad said, "What's up, boys? We still love you guys." Sullivan changed the whole game. Yeah, that game was absolutely insane. Iowa only along of 30 in a game where they had 329 yards and 5 touchdowns. That's 6 yards a rush. We all talked about it. We went on the Hawkaholic podcast last week. All 3 of us did. Go check them out if you're an Iowa fan. Or if you're a Badger fan, you want to see us talk about perspective and you want to hear opposing fan perspective on what they think of the Badgers. And they respect us too. But, after this game, I don't know if we earned any. We might have lost some, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So before we go to offense, I was like, you know what? This isn't enough torture to rewatch this game or look at these stats and relive this moment that was totally embarrassing. Games that will shape the season. We came into this season talking about USC, Bama, Iowa, Penn State, and Oregon. Oregon is the best team on that list, and we still have to play them yet.
Yeah.
Versus Bama, loss. Versus USC, loss. Versus Penn State, loss. Versus Iowa, loss. You see how this
ass whooping. You can say ass whooping instead of loss.
You can say ass whooping. You can say ass whooping for a lot of these, right?
Yeah.
So I wrote down what Wisconsin scored and what the opponent scored. Now, again, we give optimism when we have to, and I try to be optimistic at every single facet of my life. It has completely changed the way that my brain works. But we also want to be realistic, right? And we gave the Badgers a lot of credit on that 3-game win streak and how they outscored opponents and what they were holding their opponents to, right? 117 to 16 or whatever it was, right? Well, in these 4 games, they have another one next week against number 1 Oregon that will shape the season. The Badgers have scored 54 points. That is 13.5 points per game in those big-time matchups. And they have given up 150 points. Giving up on average 37.5 points per game. So on average, they lose about 38 to 14.
We got a long way to go.
That is a huge mountain to climb if you're Luke Fickell. And I know we're going to go to offense. And I know not all of this is on the defense, the opponent point score, because we've thrown some pick sixes and the offense has put the defense in bad situations. But at the same time, if there was going to be a move made, I think Tressel's the move that gets let go this offseason. I think they try to go back to a 3-4 since it's a little bit easier to kind of recruit for that anyways. We can kind of get into the nitty-gritty after I cover special teams and we cover offense if you want to have a discussion. I was totally open for that today, but if there was going to be a move made, in my opinion, I think Tressel would be the move. At this point, the defense has had moments, but it's not having enough dominant moments and enough moments of taking the ball away, in my opinion, that makes you feel good, right? On the offensive side of things, it's a little bit easier to kind of pinpoint problems. On defense, it's like, dude, we got playmakers everywhere on defense. The D-line has improved a lot. We got a couple playmakers over there now. Neal and Hills, they're playmakers now. We got a lot of young linebackers. We brought some recruits in. We brought some edge rushers in. The DB room, there was no question marks coming into this year with the DB room. It was just the question mark was who the hell is going to play. We got so many athletes over there now. We got Hunter Wohler back there. Zachman's look good at times. I mean, we got other guys that can look good in the safety room, in the cornerback room, that have made plays. Freshman Xavier Lucas comes to mind, first week of the season, right?
Yeah.
So if you're going to make a change, to me, that's what it's going to be. I'm just going to cover special teams, and then I'll let you go on offense real quick. No complaints on special teams, obviously. Vakos, 1 for 1 on field goals, 1 for 1 on extra points. Bertram, 6 punts, 258 yards, 43 net. 53 long, 2 inside the 20. He did have 1 return for a -2 yards, and he had an average hang time of 4.12 seconds. So that's pretty good. It's plenty of time for guys to get off the ball and go down there and cover the punt. So Bertram's doing his thing again. I will say Iowa punter, holy golly, Jesus, that guy is a stud. Now, as we switch here, and I didn't switch the banner again. I do that all the time. What do you think about offense, man? Give me your opinions on the run game.
Man, I mean, the only flashes that really kind of stood out to me. I'm gonna start positive here. Darian Dupree looked pretty good. There were some instances where he did flash. He's gonna have a bright future here. I think ultimately, if we can just if we can just put it all together offensively. 7 carries, 52 yards, so not bad. 7.4. He had 15 long for one of his rushes, and then he also had 2 catches for 17 yards, which is another reason why we brought him in, right, to get him in space, let him do his thing. And then Kawhi Walker, still kind of a quiet night for him. 16 carries, 52 yards, 3.3 on average, not the most ideal. But we didn't get too much push again for the second straight week, I would say, overall. And I am once again going to voice my frustration with the staff or whoever's responsible for this. But the fact that we couldn't even get Katie Akameli in there once again, still irritates the hell out of me. I think he's going to be one of those guys. He's going to transfer, and then we're going to see him on TV a lot, and then we're going to actually see him do well, kind of like what Isaac Guerrero did before getting drafted by the 49ers. So I am going to express my frustration about that. I do think, especially at this point, why would you not at least give him a couple reps and let him turn loose a little bit? Because he showed a handful of flashes at the beginning of the year, right? He's got the highest yards per carry by far. I don't see why the coaching staff can't at least let him get a couple reps, because especially these last 2 weeks, we haven't been able to do shit in the ground game. Let's be real about that. So we need to get some sort of spark going with that playmaker or whatnot. But I really, really hope this staff, going in this bye week, they do take a deep look, and hopefully going to Oregon when they literally have nothing to lose, when you should literally open the kitchen sink on Oregon, literally try anything to get something going. I hope Yak is going to be involved with that.
Yeah, I agree. You want to check your sound settings real quick, buddy?
Yeah.
So, now it's back. All right, I'm gonna read Tyler's notes real quick. He has passing game, so Mike was covering running game. I have passing game. Tyler has passing game. He said, "I don't believe Braden Locke will be a Badger next season." I 100% agree with you. I think he's going to transfer out. Tyler says, "Just because I believe he will end up 3rd or 4th on the depth chart next season. His interception at the end of the first quarter led to Iowa taking the lead they'd never give back. Penalties didn't help, but the offense didn't help the defense either. We discussed with the Hawkaholics last week that Wisconsin has been playing complementary football during their better streak of games. Locke's second interception came on just the 4th play of their second series of the second half, and offsides put the ball at the 7-yard line, and a 7-yard TD followed. The offense put the defense right back on the field in the red zone already. That's the opposite of complimentary." Agreed. The defense at the end of the third quarter, or the drive, sorry, at the end of the third quarter was definitely their best. Locke hit Vinny Anthony twice, had a 9-yard run, and ended with a 14-yard touchdown to C.J. Williams on fourth down. Locke only averaged 4.7 yards per pass, and his ADOT was 7.2 yards, which is low, like it was against Penn State, 7.1. Against Northwestern, Rutgers, and Purdue, it was 9.8, 10.2, and 11.1. Yeah, he's had some highs and lows. We'll say that. In terms of offensive line, you went over the run game a little bit, but we ran the ball 28 times for 124 yards, 4.4 yard average. That's not bad, but with the pass game that we have, we really needed to carry, kind of like Iowa's did. We gave up 0 sacks, 0 hits, and we only gave up 3 hurries, Huber, Malman, and Nelson. We have 2 penalties in pass block, Tawi Walker and Jack Nelson, and multiple false starts. I understand some of those came from tight end Tucker Ashcraft, but the point being is that the offense as a whole did not come to play. They did not handle the adversity well. They did not handle the noise well. They didn't handle that defense well. Iowa was the more physical team at the line of scrimmage, and it showed for 4 quarters. And that's just point blank period, right? Yep. So now, if you want to, I'm going to give you the floor. And I know that I didn't tell you I was going to do this, but I'm going to give you the floor. And I'm just going to put Wisco Fanatics up here because this is going to be Mike cooking. I wanted to ask you this question. If you could make 2 moves in the offseason for the Wisconsin Badgers football teams, what would they be?
I'd say one on both sides of the ball.
Okay.
I think it's quarterback, unfortunately, number 1 is on my list. I think me personally, I get that Braden Locke's had maybe 6 or 7 starts now, 5 or 6 starts this year. He had a little bit of time last year. I think it is clear as day we need to move on from him and find a starting quarterback going into next year. He's going to get more chances, clearly. I mean, the Oregon game, I think he's going to start. What I think is going to happen, he's going to play against Oregon. And I think, unfortunately, the way it's going, he might get exposed a little bit. And then if Mabry can get enough reps in practice and show the staff, hey, he might be good enough to win us a couple football games, I think you throw him in against Nebraska. See how he responds. I think it's clear Braden Locke should not be part of the future starting-wise. Going into next season specifically. This year, whatever happens. Okay, whatever. But no, we are lacking in the quarterback position, especially in an offense that really, really thrives on a dual threat, somebody that needs to be a dual threat, number 1. And you got to be able to obviously throw the ball a little bit too. As soon as he threw that pick yesterday, that changed on Saturday, that changed the whole thing, the whole game, man. Because we had a little bit in the beginning, it was like, okay, I get it. Iowa's giving us a bunch of penalties. We'll take the 3 points. I know I was complaining still in our group chat after that first drive, but it even seemed like as soon as he threw that pick, not only did he change, but the whole team just completely flipped a complete 180 and everybody just like crumbled. Ultimately, that starts with the quarterback because he's your leader. Like he's going to be the guy that, tries and gets it done for you. So number 1, Braden Locke, he's not the answer. I think you really either you find some stud freshmen who could be ready to go next year, whether that's Mabry or Carter Smith, who I know the Badgers are pursuing now. If he's going to be the answer, hopefully we land him as a commit. That's actually it's thinking too much, but or you got maybe Van Dyke if he decides to come back. If he does have eligibility to come back, we're going to know more about that in the future. But otherwise, I think we break out the pocketbook and we do whatever we can to bring in one of the best transfers in the quarterback market if we can help it. I get it. We're probably in the middle tier in terms of finances and all that. But if we really want to be good in this era, we have to have at least an above average quarterback that can get us a couple big drives, win us a couple games, maybe not be relied upon every single week, but you got to have some sustainability and some reliability there too. And right now, Braden Locke is just not cutting it right now, I would say.
Yes, let me jump in real quick.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to sound a little bit redundant of something that you just said, but the thing that I said to my dad, which made me think of this question, which I wanted to ask you, and I wanted to give you an opportunity to say something on both sides of the ball. That I didn't frame it that way, but you just went there. So the first thing that I said to my dad is I said, this is sad but true. This is the world we live in now. If the Badgers want to compete in the new world, in the new Big Ten, in the new college football world, you need to just break the bank. And Wisconsin's not hurting for money. And I understand that they're not going to be Ohio State. They're not going to be Oregon. They don't have to be those kind of people. We could still recruit and field a good team. We have plenty of talent on this team. The thing that's letting us down is the quarterback position. Whether that sounds harsh to some people or not, it is what it is. That's why they get paid the big money in the NFL, because they are the premier, the hardest position to play, the hardest position to scout and find. That's the spot. So if you want to compete, you want the W to be as marketable as you think it can be. And, there's been quotes out there about Fickle talking about he didn't understand how marketable the W was. Well, if you want to get that brand as big as humanly possible, it's time to pay up. That's the world we live in. It sucks to say out loud, but and I don't disagree with college players being paid. I just disagree at the amount of money that they're making. Do I think Shedeur Sanders is worth $6.2 million? No, I don't. You can call me crazy. I don't think he's worth $6 million. That might sound crazy to me. You know what? Maybe cap these kids at $3 million, $2 million. I think $2 million for a college kid is plenty of money.
Oh my God!
Can you imagine?
Give me $2 million as a college student? Oh, geez.
Tell me, for real, be for real. Capping these kids at $2 million, putting a cap on how much each of these big time schools can pay, so it stays a competitive landscape, is something that definitely needs to happen.
Yeah.
So that would bring teams like Wisconsin and the Iowas, and I mean, look at Indiana. Indiana is going to be turned into a football school if they keep continuing this for the next couple of years. They keep that coach around there. They're going to turn into a football school pretty soon. But the point being, you got to open up the checkbook. You got to go get a quarterback. And I've been talking about it for weeks. I'm glad people are starting to follow suit. I know that it was like kind of, not breaking news, but in college football today, quarterback has to run. It is what it is. You need a dual threat. All these offenses are predicated on dual threat quarterbacks. So I'm going to let you give your second fix that you would do.
It's unfortunate, but you did say it before. I got to say, I almost want to say Tressel now. The way we just got punched in the mouth. I also, from a scheme standpoint, this last game, I don't know, please correct me if I'm wrong. It seemed like we never, ever stacked the box, put any sort of pressure on the run game at all whatsoever. At least not as much. Not as much as I think we should have. And just make Brandon Sullivan control, throw the ball even more. I just don't think I didn't see Hunter Wohler, for example, maybe lined up in the box or closer to the line of scrimmage nearly as much as I thought he should be, just from a schematic standpoint. Because when you're playing a defense like we do in the 2-4-5, and you're playing a school like Iowa who wants to literally run 40 times a game, and you can't adjust to what they're doing, and we get literally trampled on for 300 plus yards on the ground, man. I think schematic wise, I'm really, really starting to get sour about the whole 2-4-5 thing. It starts with the the dudes up front, but again, there's only two guys up there, right? Kurt Neal is pretty much getting triple teamed, and then when the running back gets 5 yards down the field, that's over 5 yards of carry already. So I think, unfortunately, as it stands now, I think that would be my switch or my move in the offseason, or at least have a talk, Fickle, or at least have a talk with Tressel and be like, hey, we need to get more down linemen on the front line, make that adjustment, or goodbye. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I think we do need to have more down linemen, not just two dudes just lining up there, because I think it's ultimately costing us right now.
Yeah. So for me, when I think about it, and the reason that I thought about it was the down linemen, right? You're in the Big Ten Conference. And even with the new teams that are coming in, I mean, USC is really the only one that is kind of the outlier. I mean, UCLA hasn't been particularly good, but they're usually okay. you got to be able to stop the run. And having 2 down linemen, what are we doing?
Yeah.
That's no way to stop the run, right? So for college purposes only, I would say that a 4-3 defense is the best defense that you can have in a conference like the Big Ten. Unless you really believe that you can go out there and you can recruit with the best of the best to get the best linemen, that's the only way in college I would consider a 3-4. There's not a lot of guys. I don't even remember the guy's name. The kid from Florida who's like 6'5", 450 pounds or whatever. I know you know who I'm talking about. He wears number 21, but his jersey doesn't stay down very long.
Yeah.
That looks like a very small 2-1 in my opinion. Unless you're just going to get 2 or 3 of those guys, you're not going to be able to run a 2 down lineman, 3 down lineman kind of set. You need the 2 guys inside to play the A gaps and the B gaps, and maybe take a linebacker off the field. But whatever, if you have to go to a 4-4, that's easy to adjust, right? You can have one single high safety and play a cover 3. These college quarterbacks are few and far between where they can read a defense and dissect a defense like that. Only the elite, the top 1% guys, are really doing that. Look at the quarterback. Tell me his name. The quarterback from Georgia. The heck's his name?
Beck. Carson Beck.
Yep, Carson Beck. You see him against Florida? Was he reading the defense? Heck, no, he wasn't.
Hell no.
He has a bunch of athletes out there, dude. He's told the play call, this is your first read, this is your second read. You look there. If you can't, you tuck the damn ball and you run. Otherwise, you just drop it off to ETN. That's what they're told. These guys don't have practice time like the NFL. You can run a cover 3 and disguise it, dude. It's really not that difficult. But at the end of the day, we're Wisconsin, right? We talk about big bodies up front on the O-line. We're going to have big bodies to put on the D-line. We need more linemen. We need more beef on the field. Because giving up 300 yards, dude, oh, my goodness.
It's disgraceful.
That just pisses me off to no end, dude. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
But I say we change. We have a bye week this week for Badgers football, so everybody take a deep breath. Packers have a bye week as well. Everybody gets a nice big deep breath.
Much needed.
We get to come back next week and turn back into the football state that we are, because I know everybody's a fanatic, right? But we're going to switch to basketball real quick here. We're going to switch to Badgers basketball, first game of the year versus Holy Cross. I apologize for not being there on Friday night. I was having some, I'll say, medical issues. I was having some emergencies. It was a long day on Friday. But I'm going to let you go first, Mikey. Why don't you give me your takeaways from Badger basketball versus Holy Cross?
I mean, first and foremost, the biggest takeaway, I think, is that we need to be patient with the players on the team. And when I say that, we have to be very patient in terms of, these transfers coming in, these freshmen coming in and adjusting to Greg Gard's scheme. Defensively, I think specifically, I admit I was even fuming after the first 9 to 10 minutes of the first half. We got down, I believe it was like 25-7 or 27-7 in the beginning. And yeah, thank you. And I just, it was mind boggling, because I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing? And I do think part of it was, yes, we weren't in certain spots at the time, but Holy Cross was running against us a little bit, and we could not get back on D. They got some points in transition, and I'm just like, what are we standing around for? Like, why are we not playing? Why are they playing above our level right now? So it's definitely a combination of, okay, some of these guys aren't in their spots yet. They don't know where to be. And they also need a good kick in the butt after this first game too. But, I think the second takeaway too is that no matter what, we're going to be shooting a bunch of threes this year. I think I could see us, I kid you not, we're going to average about 25 to 33 point attempts per game.
Good.
This staff, Greg Gard made it clear, actually, I think a couple weeks ago in his opening presser or whatnot after practice. He said it's designed, this team's designed to take threes, to get open looks, which to give them some credit, I guess, if you want to call it. Once again, this is kind of playing off of the River Falls game too. We shoot the great? We did end up shooting 35.5% all said and done after the Holy Cross game, but we were definitely in a slump in the beginning. But we did get open looks, which I think is most important at the end of the day. We just got to get them to fall. So I think that's a big takeaway. And then to start things off the year, we talk about this a lot in basketball. The Badgers are 16-16 from the free throw line, 100%. That is amazing to see, especially in the beginning of the year. This is our third season, I think, talking Badgers basketball. I know we've had multiple games where we've complained and moaned about the free throw shooting. So to see something like this to start off the year, it definitely feels very promising. As far as, the bench and all that goes, it seems like as of now, Guard's going to probably start the year with playing, 7, maybe eight guys this first set here. Because you got Nolan Winter, 20 minutes, Stephen Krall, 26, Blackwell, 30, Max Klesman, 28, John Tanji, 27. Kamara McGee was a sixth man. He played 28 minutes, right? So those 6 guys were basically the core. Then right after that, it actually got very interesting in terms of minutes distributed, right? So Xavier Amos and Jack Janicki, who I did mention in our primer last week, don't sleep on him. Those 2 guys were up next with 11 minutes apart. And then after that, Carter Gilmore only 8 minutes. And after that, that's when everyone else got to play at the end of the game. So when that tells me, I think Guard is actually closer to his 7-8 guys per game, as closer than I expected. I thought maybe it's going to play out a little more. Just watching this, I think he almost has it set. Unless someone like Daniel Freitag comes along, which I do expect him to eventually hopefully be a part of this lineup as we get into the meat and potatoes of the season. I think Guard actually has his mind made up in terms of who he ultimately wants to play, those 8-9 guys. Mm-hmm. I guess granted, I could be wrong. We haven't seen Cameron Hunter play. I would love to see him play a little bit yet too, I guess. But I think he's ultimately got set his first 7 guys down of who he wants to play. I don't think he goes more than 9 against any teams that we want to who are going to be very competitive against once we get into Big Ten season. So I think we're closer to that than I expected ultimately.
Yeah, so I'll give my takeaways real quick, then I'll read Tyler's million notes that he wrote down here. So for me, I'm going to be focusing on big men, but I wanted to start out by saying that, I wrote it down. That's why I knew it. Holy Cross started out the game 23-9. Now, the Badgers came out to an early 3-0 lead when Krall took that 3 and he just shot it. And I was like, who is this? Who is this? Did he just grab it and just shoot it, bro? Who the hell is this guy? And why is he wearing number 22 for the Badgers? But very good to see him being aggressive and kind of being assertive. That's when we've gotten the best version of Stephen Krall. Also want to give a shout out to Nolan Winter. Shout out to everybody on the coaching staff, really, for starting the 2 giant 7-footers, man, to give us a little bit more flexibility, more size, and better defense. You're not just going to be able to dump it down and kind of go at certain guys, because when you get past 1 7-footer, you have another 7-footer there. Look at how that worked out for Purdue last year. Now, I understand that Zach Edey was a whole different monster last year in college, but having that size inside, especially in college, is going to help, especially when you lose a guy like Chucky Hepburn, and you're losing some perimeter defense. Now you can tell your guys, hey, you could press up a little bit. We have size behind you, right? So Nolan Winter, though, we need to have a conversation about him, because holy crap, man. 15 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 6 of 6 from the field, 2 of 2 from 3. He had the nice post move where he just left the guy in the dust and then did the nice little one-handed flip. He also had the nice offensive rebound where he looked like he dogged the guy, grabbed it over the top of his head, and then slam dunked it. And I was like, yeah, hell yeah, dude.
He didn't do a putback like Steve. He actually dunked it.
Yeah, dude, he looked like a grown man right there. I was like, golly, he's been hitting the weight room, bro, eating his Wheaties, man. I was so excited. Talking about the other bigs, we didn't really get to see too much out of Greppy. I think I'm saying that right. He only played 2 minutes, didn't record a stat, so he was just in for garbage time. Amos, I read a little bit of Tyler's notes, and I actually agreed with what he said, because I wrote it down too. I said he was active on defense. He didn't shoot the ball particularly well, 1 for 4 from the field, 0 for 3 from 3, 2 points, 4 rebounds, and an assist, but active on defense. Ilver, 3 minutes, had 1 assist. Carter Gilmore, new number, same headband, same hustle. That's literally the first thing I wrote down for Carter Gilmore. 2 for 2 from the field, 5 points, 2 rebounds. And Hodges played 1 minute in garbage time, 0 for 1 from the field. So Tyler's notes on Holy Cross here. John Blackwell played well, played some point as well as on the wing. I like how he attacks the rim strong. He got some design paint touches and hit some threes. I think he has the ability to be a true 3-level scorer for the Badgers. He did get called for 2 pretty soft fouls to start the second half, but it didn't affect us, his defensive effort at all. Finished with 16 points, was 5 of 10 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3, made all 4 of his free throws. Max Klesmit, also an impact player defensively, had 2 steals. My biggest positive takeaway from him was coming out at halftime. He made a drive to get himself to a manageable mid-range shot at the elbow that he buried after starting a slow 0 for 4. After that, he made 3 of 5. He said his other takeaways, Wisconsin got down 21-5. I wrote down 23-9. But I figured with all their roster turnover and some changes in the scheme that there may be a small lag of getting things figured out, something that you said, Mike. They bounced back to lead 36-35 at half. John Tonji was clutch. I like John Tonji's impact on the offensive boards, obviously his scoring too, and Xavier Amos's effort defensively. Badgers drew back-to-back offensive fouls just before half. In the second half, the defense was doing well, contesting shots and deflecting passes, which led to the offense, and the Badgers went on a 16-0 run. I love seeing how excited everyone got for Isaac Gard. I will say.
Oh, my God. Dude, that was nuts. That looked good, too. He caught it right on the wing. The form was great, right in front of his dad.
Oh, yeah.
And because of that, the Badgers covered.
Oh, wow, really?
They covered. Well, I guess so. We went up like 30 points, I think, after he hit the 3. But they came back and we covered 23.5 still. We won by 24. So it's like, dude, there's the play right there.
That's actually really funny. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
All right. So what's next for the Badgers? They play Thursday, so tomorrow. They play versus Montana State, and Sunday they play versus Appalachian State. So we will have next week with Mike, we will have preview for the Badgers in Oregon football game, and then recap of the Badgers versus Montana State and Appalachian State. So I have never seen Appalachian State's college basketball team play, so that'll be fun. The only time I've ever heard of Appalachian State was in 2007 when they beat Michigan at the Big House. Other than that, they have been pretty obsolete in my world. But thank you, Mike, for coming on. Appreciate you. Have a good night, buddy.
Yeah, you as well, man. Go Badgers.
Yes, sir. Take care, dude.
Yep. Later.
All right. So I am going to jump in to some Bucks basketball. So let me flip my notebook over here. All right. So we have 3 games to cover. Bucks, Grizzlies. We'll start with my notes. I will go to Tyler's notes after that. And that's just how we're going to handle things. So I'm not looking at Tyler's notes first because I want to get my thoughts out. So Bucks versus Grizzlies. Bucks lose this game 99-122. Giannis had 37, 11, and 4. Dame, 4 points. Very, very tough night for him from the field. 1 for 12, 0 for 6 from 3. Brook Lopez with 12 points. Prince had 5 points, 2 for 8 from the field. Gary Trent, 4 for 12. Bobby, 5 for 14. Just really not a good shooting night for the Bucks overall. Well, they shot 42.7% from the field, and the Grizzlies shot over 50% from the field. So that's your game right there. Is they got better shots and they finished their shots. They also shot 31 free throw attempts to the Bucks 19. They made 28 out of 31 from the free throw line. The Bucks made 8 of 19. That is a 20-point swing from the free throw line. That's you don't recover from that kind of stuff, especially when you're not shooting the ball well from the field, and then you're not shooting the ball well or getting to the free throw line. They were the more aggressive team. That's really what it comes down to. So I found a different way that I want to kind of go over the efficiency. I was playing around with it this weekend while I was kind of in recovery mode, trying to get back to my normal self. And I found drives, pull-up, paint, post-up, and catch and shoot, points scored off of each of those, right? So Points scored off of drives. The Bucks had 26. Giannis led the way with 16 points off of drives. Not shocking. Pull-ups. The Bucks had 11 points off of pull-ups. Giannis had 6. DeLon Wright and Ryan Hollins had 3 apiece, and Bobby Portis had 2. So pull-up game, it wasn't working. That's usually where Dame and Chris are really, really going to cook. They're going to own the pull-up. So you go to paint. The Bucks had 10 points in the paint, 6 from Bobby, 4 from Liam Robbins and Giannis combined. That you got to get Giannis more paint points. That's just what it is. Now, I understand that Giannis driving to the rim is also him getting into the paint, but, I think we need to have more of Giannis getting the ball into the paint where he's already established into the paint, where he doesn't have to do all the work getting there, right? And that's the discussion that Tyler and I have talked about before. It's not rocket science. We just need to get our athletic, gigantic, generational talent the ball in the paint, and that's just what it is, right? Post-ups, Brooke had 1 post-up. He shot it. He made it, and that was all she wrote for post-up points for the Bucks. They had 2 post-up points. I would like to see a little bit more of that. I would like to see Bobby Portis posting up a little bit more. I think he's better down there. I just feel like Bobby Portis should be like an elbow extended kind of guy, especially on the left side of the floor. That seems to be really where he's comfortable. You could just do so much from that. You can back down. You can go to a face-up. You could pull up. You can drive to the rim. You can go to a turnaround, fade. I mean, Bobby Portis is a guy that needs to be used on offense when he's on the floor, and that's just what it is. I think they need to coach him up on setting a little bit better screens so him and Dame can cook a little bit more. But we need to post up a little bit more. I think that would slow the game down for us, which they clearly want to do, as we are the senior citizen squad this season. Just like we were last year, we got a little bit younger, and we're going to talk about some young guys playing against the Cavaliers here in a sec, but I think more post-ups when those guys are not on the floor is a good thing. Talking about catch and shoot, the Bucks as a team had 21 catch and shoot points, 9 from Brooke, and they got 3 from Bobby, DeLon Wright, PC, and Taurean Prince, 3 apiece from them. So catch and shoot, something that's obviously going to be vital, an important stat going on for the rest of the season. It's been important in the NBA for 10-plus years now. It's going to be even more, right? So this is Tyler's notes from the Grizzlies. He said, 1, team 3-point shooting. As I said last week, 3-point shooting directly correlated to the end result of the game. The Bucks were 9 of 42, 21.4% as a team. Now, yes, it sucks that the Bucks had 4 bad games of 3-point shooting in a row. If you look at the career 3-point shooting of the guys struggling, they're due for bounce backs. Dame, 37. Gary Trent Jr., 38. PC, 37. Prince, 37. Bobby, 38. Brooke, 34.8. Those guys are going to bounce back. They're not going to stay cold for the entire year. I fully expect Gary Trent Jr. To catch fire here coming up. Bobby's going to bounce back as well. So he goes to defensive matchups. Tyler's covering defensive matchups this year. Giannis, Grizzlies versus Giannis, 5 of 19. Aldama, 1 of 5. JJJ, 3 of 8. Grizzlies versus Brooke, 10 of 14. Not great. 7 of those 14 were contested, so it's not like Brooke wasn't there. They were just hitting tough shots. Grizzlies versus Pat, 2 of 5. Versus Dame, 9 of 13. His primary defensive matchups were Jalen Wells and Scottie Pippen Jr. They were 3 of 7, including 0 of 4 from 3. People can stop acting like Dame is a cone defensively. He's not great, but he's not useless either. I fully agree with that. He's not going to make a all defensive team, all NBA defensive team, first or second or third. He's not going to make any of that. But he is a guy that, can be used on defense from time to time to maybe you can count on him to force a pass, right? Only 33 shots out of the 42 were contested, 40.2%. That number needs to increase. And he's talking about turnovers. Only 10, but just 14 points off the turnovers for the Grizzlies. So there's an improvement there. There's a positive takeaway right there. Only 14 points off turnovers versus the Grizzlies. So that's good. But the thing for me, like I said, is they were getting to the free throw line and they had a better shooting day from the field. And that's really where the game was won and lost. So now let's switch over to the Bucks versus Cavs. The sky is falling. Everything is shitty in Milwaukee. The Bucks suck. They should trade Giannis. I'm absolutely not being serious. But you go into this game with everybody talking about trading Giannis, getting rid of everybody, we need to fire Doc, restart the whole process. And Tyler's been talking about it, and I'm going to be the one to echo it right now since Tyler's not here to echo it himself. Why are we so quick to get back to mediocrity? Why are we so quick to go back to the days of 40 and 42 and being the 8th seed in the East? I didn't enjoy that. It wasn't my favorite time to be a Bucks fan. Now, I had fun because I love the Bucks. I love watching basketball. I love watching Brandon Jennings. I love watching Monte Ellis. I went to a couple games where I sat really, really close to the floor, one with my dad. That was a memory that'll live with me forever at the Bradley Center. So I enjoyed that. I sat in the suites, but that was when we were bad. That was when sweet seats were affordable. They weren't filled up. Why are we so quick to get back to that? Did you guys really not? Do you not enjoy the stressful playoff moments? Because those are earned. And I love those moments. I live for that. I physically cannot be out there. I can't play a single second of NBA basketball. But with my heart and my mind, I can be there for this team and support them. And that's all I can give them as a fan. That's all anybody can give them as a fan, right? They don't care about your fucking Facebook comments. They don't care about what you say on Twitter. They don't care that you're pissed and you're never watching another game, okay? Because you're going to watch another game. That's clearly why you keep bitching about it. It doesn't matter. So just be a fan, support them, and how about we don't break into our players' houses, okay? Especially Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis is pretty fucking cool. He loves Milwaukee. He loves the Bucks. Let's not do that. That's shitty. So moving on to my notes about the Bucks versus Cavs. Giannis, a fantastic game, 34, 16, and 9, and an absolute bounce-back game for Damian Lillard. Tyler was talking about it before. These guys are absolutely going to bounce back, and boy, oh boy, did Dame ever bounce back. 41, 4, and 9, 13 of 24 from the field, 10 of 15 from 3. He looked like the Damian Lillard that everybody expected us to get when we traded for him. Gary Trent Jr. had a tough day from the field, but Taurean Prince was picking him up. He was 6 or 7 from the field and 4 or 5 from downtown. Now you go to the bench. The bench really didn't do much in this game. 13 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, 6 of 14 from the field, and 1 of 5 from 3. That is totals. That is totals from the bench. It's not enough. You go to points scored and how they scored them, right? On drives, the team had 15 points off drives. 6 from Giannis, 5 from Dame, 2 from Bobby and Prince apiece. Catch and shoot, the Bucks had 36 catch and shoot points. Dame had 15. He shot 71% on catch and shoots. Taurean Prince, I almost said Tayshaun Prince, showing my age there. Taurean Prince had 12, shooting 80% on catch and shoots, so that's very good. He's had some up and down games, but he's kind of what people expected. He's a long-rangey defender, and he's a sometimes shooter, man. That's what we brought him in for, right? Brooke had 6 points on catch and shoots, and I don't know why I wrote Prince twice, but 3 points down there. Pull-ups, the Bucks had 26 points on pull-ups. Dame had 17. So we need to have a discussion about Damian Lillard. 15 points on catch and shoots, 5 points on drives. Okay, so let's do some math here, right? So 5 plus 15 is 20, right? So now on drives and catch and shoots, you have 20 points. Now, I just told you the Bucks had 26 points on pull-ups. 17 of those points from Damian Lillard. So when Damian Lillard is going the way that Damian Lillard's going to go, he's going to shoot, he's going to pull up, he's going to be a sniper from outside, from deep range, and he's going to get to the rim, he's going to force havoc down low, right? So if you add up all the catch and shoot, the drives, and the pull-up points, that's 37 of 41 points from Damian Lillard. He was cooking. He looked like prime Dame in this game. The Bucks just didn't get enough stops. And this game, it's tough to say, but this game was one of those games when you break down the stats, right? Field goal percentage. The Bucks shot 48.3. Cleveland shot 48.4. The Bucks from 3 made 18 threes. They shot 46%. Cleveland, 39.5. They made 15 threes, so it's not even like we had a huge advantage there. We had 9-point advantage. Rebounds, both had 45. Both had 10 offensive rebounds. Both had 35 defensive rebounds, literally even across the board. Assists, Cleveland had 31, Bucks had 24. Bucks had 13 turnovers, Cleveland had 7. Cleveland 11 of 15 from the free throw line, the Bucks 9 of 15 from the free throw line. At the end of the day, you could look at the box score, you could look at all these stats, but what this game came down to was whoever had the goddamn ball last. Because they have a shot maker over there too, and his name is Donovan Mitchell. He's a damn good player. He's an all-NBA type. He's a max contract type player. You don't get a nickname unless you're good, right? They don't call you by one name unless you're good in the NBA. That's just kind of how it works, right? They call Giannis because he's fucking Giannis. They call Dame because he's Dame. They call Mitchell Spider because that's who he is. D-Wade was Flash. LeBron is the king. KD is KD. I mean, Kobe, they don't call him Kobe Bryant. Some people do, but when you talk to real hoopers, man, that's Kobe, man. That's his name. That's who he is. You get one name, you're a monster. So Dame looked like Dame, and Spider looked like Spider, and it was really good initial defense by Gary Trent Jr. Just Spider making a shot, man. It's just at the end of the day, that's just what it is. That's how basketball goes, right? So I'm going to read Tyler's notes real quick, and then we'll have one more game, and then we'll get out of here. So Bucks versus Cavs, three-point shooting. Tyler said 18 of 39, much improved. It's the first game this season that their three-point shooting didn't correlate at the end of the result due to Donovan Mitchell making an all-star shot on a broken play. Yeah, it's what it is. I made the Damian Lillard post about his 4 bad games compared to his career, and not shockingly, people overreacted that the tiny sample size held more weight than almost 900 career games, and then in this game, he goes 10 of 15 from 3. Agreed. Prince bounced back 2, 4 of 5, but Gary Trent Jr. and Brooks struggled 3 of 14 combined. Yep. Defensive matchups, Lopez was good versus Jared Allen, 1 of 4, but bad versus Mobley, 4 of 5. Mobley is playing out of his mind this year, by the way. Giannis was opposite. Allen was 3 of 4, and Mobley was 1 of 5. So the Bucks may have figured something out there. 8 of 18 total versus Giannis. Cavs versus Gary Trent Jr. were 8 of 11. Rough game defensively. Mitchell versus Dame was 0 for 5, but he's useless defensively according to Facebook. He says the Cavs as a team were 7 of 17 versus Dame. Cavs were 0 of 5 versus Ajax in 15.5 minutes. That's good to know. More concerning, though, is contested shots. Again, this game was only 35 of 91, 38.5. Get that number up. The Bucks are starting to blitz some ball screens with guys like Giannis and Ajax, which could be beneficial when playing teams with strong guards like the Cavs. It could also earn Ajax some more playing time. Agreed with that. He said, turnovers, 13. That's reasonable. I can live with that number. Cavs only 15 points off turnovers. That's not bad. I agree. Pat Connaughton, he played less than 10 minutes. Still complaining about him at this point is just lazy. Agreed. Giannis and Dame are starting to figure out sharing the ball. They combined for 75 points, 20 rebounds, 18 assists. Overall, some of the little things are improving, but it's just a matter of time before this team goes on a tear. I could not agree more. Could not agree more. Well said, my man. Tyler always has a way of just articulating words better than I do. I feel like we both know ball. Tyler's just better with the words, man. So now we go to the most recent game, Bucks at Cavs, because they played them back-to-back. This was on Monday night. So I'll just read Tyler's notes real quick so I don't sound redundant when I talk about my own notes. Tyler said team three-point shooting, 17 of 35, 48.6. Second game that the three-point shooting didn't correlate to the end result. But they lost these 2 games to the Cavs by combined 3 points. Dame was 5 of 9, back-to-back great three-point shooting games for him. Brooke and Bobby combined 1 for 7. Ouch. Shout out Ajax, 2 for 5. If he shoots threes at 40% clip, his playing time will only continue to increase. If he hits corner threes, he's playing 15 to 20 minutes a night, guaranteed. I think an AJ Green, Gary Trent Jr. swap could be beneficial. AJ Green was 7 of 9 on threes, caught fire in a hurry, and gives good effort on defense. Gary Trent Jr. could get a little shakeup to maybe break him out of his funk, and we know he gives great effort defensively. Still a valuable tool off the bench. I agree with both those things. And the thing about, and Tyler proposed this to me the other day. I think it was Tuesday actually, or Monday night. Yeah, it was Monday night when he was on fire. I like AJ Green's size too. I think he's got really good size. Just makes us a little bit bigger when Middleton ends up coming back, and people are freaking out about that again. This Bucks team is going to be just fine, people. They're going to go on a tear. They're going to go on something like a 10 out of 13 wins, and then all of a sudden, people are going to start talking about us around the All-Star break, like, oh my God, are the Bucks back and all this stuff. And Giannis and Dame, I couldn't agree more with what Tyler said. They're figuring it out. They're 100% looking more comfortable than they did at any point last year. They had moments. They had small little moments last year where it was like, okay, that's what that's supposed to look like, right? But they're actually having spurts now where they actually last, a couple minutes where they're both kind of eating at the same time. So that definitely gives me a lot of positivity. But adding a guy like AJ Green that's actually going to spread the floor, because his job is one job. He's there to spread the floor and just hustle on defense. And he does a good job on both those things. Plus, I think Gary Trent being a little bit more of a focal point on offense off the bench, I think would be good for him too. So great idea by Tyler there. Tyler goes into his second portion. Turnovers. 4 in the first 6.5 minutes. 9 first half turnovers, leading to 14 points for the Cavs. Not great. Second half a little better. Only 6 turnovers, leading to 10 points for Cleveland. 3, Bobby needs to keep moving the ball. When he catches, either make a move or move the ball. Too much facing up or backing down with the dribble. That just gives the defense time to recover. Bucks effort out of halftime was stellar. The Bucks without Giannis and Chris won the third quarter 31-16. Took the Cavs to the wire. Put some respect on Pat motherfucking Connaughton. I'm going to step in. I'm going to talk about this too. People have been dogging him and dragging him through the fucking mud for the last year and a half, and he played his role to perfection in this game. He came in, provided a spark, finished with 7 points, 3 of 4 shooting, and 4 rebounds and 5 assists, 2 steals, and no turnovers. He was the first on the floor for a loose ball, credited with recovering 2 loose balls, 1 on each side of the floor, and there's crickets about his performance. So let me get into this Pat Connaughton, because I wrote down, and Tyler and I were talking during this game, which is why when I heard his idea. First of all, 4 of his 5 assists went for threes. This man came into the game, hit a three-pointer. I got some comments here I can read here. You're by yourself. What's up? What's up, James? Are you at all worried about the bench and the supporting cast? Honestly, I think the Bucks bench is actually much stronger than it was last year. I don't know what's going on with Giannis. I think he's going to be back tomorrow. But I think once Chris comes back, and I feel like I've had to say that every year for the last 3 years, once Chris comes back, I think that makes this team into the upper echelon, right? All the mess that's going on in Philly right now with Joel Embiid, they're just imploding by themselves. The Heat don't look normal. The Cavaliers are going to slow down. The Cavaliers, to me, kind of feel like the Cowboys of the NBA, where like the Cowboys can get off to a really, really hot start, but at the end of the day, am I really worried about them? Not really. They have a really good player. Mobley looks good. Is he going to stay consistent? This is his first year really kind of, being the way that he is. They're playing at a much faster pace. But the Bucks, as bad as they're playing right now, Tyler said it before too, they've only lost these games by 3 points combined. They're shooting a little bit better. The defense, they're actually making plays. So, no, I'm not really worried about the depth in the supporting cast. I think they have plenty there. Just need Gary Trent to get going a little bit, which he's got off to an unexpected slow start, right? So I'm going to talk about Pat. Pat came into the game, hit a 3, got a rebound, assisted on a 3, came back down the floor, assisted on another 3. Then he got another rebound and assisted on another 3, back-to-back by AJ Green. So you can kind of credit Pat Connaughton for getting AJ Green the ball so he can have the touch and he can get going a little bit. He also hit a big-time 3 when the Bucks were in a slump and started to run. So, Pat Connaughton played like an absolute monster. He was showing the playmaker, which could go back to last year when they were kind of playing him at point guard at some points. He was the backup point guard for a little bit there. Maybe he gained some confidence as a playmaker. He's always been a dog, being the first guy to the floor and showing hustle. You never had to worry about his heart. He was always going to be locked in every single game. And he was playing big boy ball, going down there, grabbing offensive rebounds, hitting big time shots. Pat Connaughton, if you complain about Pat Connaughton after this game, you need to shut up and stop watching basketball. That's just point blank, period. He balled. He was balling. The bench in this game, I talked about it, how it wasn't enough for the Cavs in our first matchup at home. They showed up in this game. 37 points, 20 rebounds, 9 assists, 13 of 22 from the field, and 10 of 15 from three. What more can you ask for, man? Bobby Portis had a better game this game too. I mean, 10 of 21. He does stop the ball a little bit when he does his post-ups. And I just talked about the previous game. I want him to get more post-ups because I feel like he's an elbow extended kind of guy. But he's got to make that move right away. He can't just wait, right? He's got to just get into the move. Either make your move to get into the paint, get into your shot, or move the ball. Excuse me. Gary Trent, he just had another rough offensive game. He's just not going, man. In these last two games, 2 of 17 from the field, and that's big time right there. So the Bucks, scoring wise, so the team had 20 points off of drives, 10 by Dame, 4 by Gary Trent Jr., and 2 by Bobby Brook and PC each. Catch and shoots. They had 40 points off catch and shoot in this game because the three-pointers were just a falling in this one. 15 from Green, 6 from Andre Jackson Jr. and Dame each. 5 from Brook Lopez, PC, and Prince had 3 apiece, and Bobby Portis had 2, so that equals 40. They had 29 points on pull-ups. Dame had 17, so I said when Dame's going, he's gonna be having the pull-up game going. That's back-to-back games versus the Cavs where he had 17 points of pull-ups. 6 points from Green, 4 points from Bobby, and 2 points from Gary Trent Jr. of pull-ups. And then you get into paint touches. So they had 21 as a team. Bobby and Brook had 8 apiece. Pat Connaughton and Ryan Rollins had 2 apiece. And Andre Jackson Jr. had 1. I don't really know how that works. I'm going to assume that he got fouled and he hit 1 free throw. So what's next for the Bucks? As I go to the banners here and I do this correctly, as Tyler would. What's next for the Bucks? They play tomorrow versus the Jazz. They play Friday at the Knicks. Yeah, I agree. Really NBA. Tyler said really NBA. We played back-to-back games. We have a couple of days off before our next game, then we play back-to-back. I don't understand what's going on. Last time we played back-to-back, the second half of the back was in Boston. So we play a home game versus Utah, and then we have to travel to New York for back-to-back. And then they play Sunday at home versus the Celtics, and then Tuesday versus the Raptors. Tyler will be back next week. He's had some stuff to deal with at home this week. Everything's fine. It's nothing serious. Just had some stuff to deal with at home. But I'm predicting the Bucks will beat the Jazz tomorrow. I think it's time to add the skid. Friday at Knicks. It's going to be a tough one, man. But I think they can win that one. Celtics at home. I think if I had a pick, I think they would lose at the Knicks, beat the Celtics, beat the Raptors. I think they will beat the Celtics at home. They'll beat the Raptors, and they'll beat the Jazz. So I'm saying a 3-1 record this week. I think Tyler would pick something more of 2-2. He might say 3-1 as well. He might agree with me because we do see eye to eye on a lot of things. But want to thank Mike. Want to thank everybody for following along, commenting along, joining me. This one went a lot better. It felt a lot more comfortable to be on the laptop with the internet working, not like last night. Apologize for that again, but again, we get a little bye week from football this week. I think everybody needs it, myself included. Need a little bit of mental reset to kind of dig in for the rest of the Packers season as things are going to get real interesting here. Dig in, see what the Badgers football team has. They're going to have some character kind of building games and moments in the last 3 games of their season. And then we just get to be basketball fans for the next week. So go Bucks, go Badgers. Hug your loved ones, tell everybody you love them, and I'll see you guys next Tuesday.